Hey there folks, my name is Peter and boating season has come to an end. That's right folks, it feels like just yesterday I was standing in front of the same camera talking to you all about how we were going to prepare our boat for the season. We did upper oil, lower oil, fuel filter, you name it, we did it. And just like that, the season's over. So because this is an outboard, as best I could tell, there's really only two things you have to do. And I actually read this right in the Mercury manual. We're going to stabilize the fuel system, and I use non-ethanol gas anyway, but I bought the recommended Mercury stabilizer that they call it, and then we're going to fog the engine, which it just entails, I think, taking out the spark plugs, spraying it, maybe turn the key once to just get it to crank over, and then you're done. I guess you could probably also pull it, but anyway, so we're going to do that, and then we're going to clean it. We'll pull the battery. I have to get another battery tender. I don't have one that I think supports this size battery, so we'll worry about that another time. For now, we're just gonna pull it. You wanna make sure you store your outboard in a vertical position so that if water does build up over the winter, it doesn't freeze, it can drain downward. And that's basically it. Now, the one thing that the marina does provide that I don't know how to do myself is acid wash the tunes, but I'm just gonna pressure wash them and see how that works. If you have any recommendations for how to better do that, maybe next time, let me know. And then also, next spring, we have a big job to do. I think the trailer tires are sort of on their last leg, so we might be replacing those. I definitely wanna grease the axle bearings, so a lot of work to do next spring, but for now, just trying to get this thing ready, put it into storage, and get ready for winter. So let me take you outside and you can see how it looks. So this is the sort of dirt and grime I'm talking about. Of course, this is just seaweed, but when it sits in the water like this, because I don't have it on a lift, everything just sort of collects. But my hope is that we just give this a nice shot with our pressure washer and we'll be all set. Of course, the bunks that the boat's sitting on are all brand new. Hopefully you watched that video. That was just the other day. After the video was published, I actually replaced 2 more 12-footers. So at this point, every single bunk on this trailer is brand new within the last year, because of course the one of them I did last year. So things in pretty good shape. I've had this boat now going on, this is either year 4 or 5, I can't remember, but let's get to cleaning. Now this pressure washer that I have from Ryobi, admittedly, is just not, it's not a high enough strength for this sort of job, but it's actually all that I have. The reason I bought this originally was it has a feature which I really appreciate, in that you don't need to hook this up to a hose to get it to work. Instead, it's got this long tube here. So if you fill a 5-gallon bucket with water, you drop the tube in there, and you can use it as a pressure washer even if you don't have a garden hose nearby, which has proven valuable in the past. But today, we will hook this up to a hose directly, and I think all we're gonna get is I think on high you get 800 PSI, something like that. So not a lot, but like I said, it's all we have. If you have any recommendations for better pressure washers, be sure to let me know. Well, folks, that pressure washer is not even making a dent into this. So we have 2 options. We can either try to scrape it off by hand with like a plastic scraper, which I don't know that I really have, or we go buy a pressure washer that is sufficient for this use case. You know, I love buying tools. All right, folks, we bought a new pressure washer. Now, admittedly, I had no intention of doing this today, so I have done 0 research in terms of what should I buy in terms of a pressure washer. I went to Home Depot. They only had 2 brands, DeWalt and Ryobi. I don't need to stick with Ryobi because this is not battery powered, but they had gas, they had electric, they had different PSIs, different gallons per minute, and I just was reading reviews on the Home Depot app. This one, I think 4.3 overall rating. They had a 3000 PSI that was also electric, but that had a lower rating. And then the gas ones, even though one of them had a Honda engine, a lot of the reviews are saying these things leak oil like crazy, so didn't want to go down that road today. My hope is that 2500 PSI will be sufficient for what we're trying to accomplish. Of course, the other one that I already have is 600 PSI max, so this thing is about 4 times as powerful, but we won't know until we get it out there. So let me know in the comments down below, what would you have bought? Is this any good? Do you have any recommendations? I think there's probably a world in which I get a gas powered one someday that's like 4,000 PSI or like something much greater, I guess, but hopefully this is gonna be all right for now. Well, it's working. I still think it's slightly underpowered, truthfully, but you could see a pretty distinct difference between right there and right there. So I think it's gonna take me a little while. Let me try to get this clean and I'll bring you all back.
A few moments later.
Well, folks, about 2 hours of pressure washing later, this is what we have. I also was able to shine up the tires a little bit. I have a few more of those wheel chocks coming. You can see it behind the rear wheel there. I got them on Amazon. They're like 2 for $16, and they're actually of surprisingly high quality. Like, they're not plastic junk. So I tried to buy one at Home Depot today. They were $20 each. So pretty happy with those. You can kind of see it down there, but I'll have a link in the description. So it's a little after 4 o'clock, which I realize means nothing to you all depending on when you're watching this, but I have a NASCAR race today and the Bills are playing at 8 o'clock. So we got to get this job done. So this is the product that we're using. This is Quicksilver Quick Store. This is their, I guess they have a 3-step fuel system. Obviously steps 1, 2, and 3, this being 3. So step 1 is quick care, and they say you should use that at every fill up. I've never used that before. I used to do a lot of sea foam, but maybe I'll try that for next year. Number 2 is quick clean, and that says you use it as needed throughout the year to quickly and thoroughly remove fuel system and combustion chamber deposits. Again, it sounds like sea foam. And then of course number 3 is you add it to your fuel prior to starting the engine to prevent all the buildup and whatnot. It says that 1 ounce treats, was it 5 gallons? I think this is a 15-gallon tank, although I'm not positive, but I am gonna go with 3 ounces because this is a 12-ounce bottle, so should last me 4 years. Good here. This back on for transport and put in the boat. I love using this transfer pump. Makes filling up the gas much easier. So we'll let that run, and then I have a funnel for when I need to get the last little bit out. And then we have to hook up the muffs because we have to start the engine for a couple minutes to let this circulate throughout. So if you didn't see my video in the spring, these muffs, this is the water intake because these are water-cooled systems. So we want to cover up all those holes. And so this is what it looks like with the boat off. And now when we turn the boat on, it's going to suck all that water up and it should be peeing out the other side. Maybe I'll hook you all up over there so you can see it. So that right there is where the water should be coming out once we start the boat. Last things last. Whew. So we've got 4 spark plugs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, the first 3, very easy to get to. The last one, not so much. Let's go find some tools. All right, folks, so since the last time you've seen me, 1 week has passed. I know in the video it's only a couple seconds, but here's what happened. I stabilized the fuel system, obviously, after I got done cleaning the boat. Now, cleaning the boat took me over 3 hours. And I was really trying to take my time and get into every nook and cranny, and I'm pretty happy with the way that it turned out. But after cleaning and doing the fuel stuff, I didn't really have that much time left. Now, all I had to do to finish the winterization is 3 things. Get the fogging oil inside the cylinders, disconnect the battery, and grease the fittings. Now, neither of those 3 things should take all that long. The problem is the spark plugs. So it's a 4-cylinder, so there's 4 spark plugs, and 3 of them super easy to get to. The 4th one, however, not so easy to get to. And when I started playing with it, I ended up finagling this McGaffer, which is so first of all, Typically what I like to use when I'm dealing with spark plugs is this 3/8 Astro Tools socket. It has, I think, 15 degrees or something like that worth of rotation on it, and it's magnetic. So when you put the spark plug in there, it doesn't fall out, which is super cool. Now in this case, they're not down in like an engine bay, so you don't really need that. I just appreciate it. But this will not fit where that 4th spark plug is. Instead, I have a regular old 5/8 socket attached to this 3/8 snap-on universal extension, which I then also attach to this 2-inch 3/8 snap-on extension. So now you get something like this. But as I was playing with it, and I'm like, you know, yes, I can get some purchase on the spark plug. So getting it out is not going to be the problem. Getting it back in, because you can't see at all. And of course, you just got to be able to thread it in there. So because I didn't have a ton of time, it just was not something I wanted to rush into. I wanted to wait until I had a little bit more time so I could just be patient. This is obviously not something that you want to mess up. So we are back 7 days later. I am going to work on the spark plugs now. I don't know that I have the right grease to do the fitting, so I may just do that or wait until the spring, and then I'll disconnect the battery, but then we'll be finished. So this should give you a little sense of what I'm talking about. Spark plug 1, spark plug 2, spark plug 3, spark plug 4. Right, you can't even see it. So you can see spark plug 4 is down there, and of course I have this obstruction, which is the housing in my way. I don't think you're going to be able to see much of this. Well, I got it out. Of course it dropped down in there. Luckily I had my magnet. It looks, I guess, okay. I don't know why that's okay. It's not grease. I'm not sure what that is, but the rest of these now will be much easier. Number 3. Number 2. Number 1. So now we have our stable fogging oil. We're going to spray for about 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, now we're just going to crank the engine slightly, and then we're going to replace the spark plugs, and we're about done. All right, so I forgot to hit record when I turned it over, but I did turn it over. Now for the hardest part of the day, trying to get this 4th spark plug back in the hole. Whoa. Folks, this might be one of our best days. Oh yeah, guess what? That's in there nice. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, I definitely made a bigger fuss about that in my mind than it turned out to be in real life, but I'd rather take my time and do it right, rush it and have something go wrong. Now I don't have a torque wrench. I don't have a 3/8 torque wrench or a 1/4 inch. Just gonna do a 1/4 turn. There we go. But what I'm thinking is I'm gonna bite the bullet. I'm gonna buy a 1/4 inch torque wrench, and then I'm gonna buy a 1/4 inch to 3/8 torque adapter, or socket adapter rather. And I think the reality is I have a 1/2 inch, so I'm good on the big stuff with my Tecton, and then I'm gonna buy the snap-on 1/4 inch, and then in cases where I need 3/8, like with spark plug specifically, I'll just use the adapter for this stuff, but generally I won't really need that. All right, folks, that's gonna do it for today's video. I pulled the battery out of the boat because that's what the manual says to do. I know that you can technically just disconnect them, but my plan is to hook this up to a battery tender over the winter, because I think that'll be a little bit better than just letting it sit. But nonetheless, I would rather have it in this temperature controlled environment than on the boat all winter. So given how many tools I had to use for this project, because I haven't done such a video before, I'm going to do a follow-up where I just talk through everything that I made use of on the project. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss that video. As always, if you know how to winterize these outboard boats, please leave some comments, let me know how I did. I make these videos much less to teach you and a lot more for you to teach me, so be sure to let me know. When I reviewed the pricing, my marina charges $175 to do the winterization. Now, they don't do, I think, as much. Like, I actually replaced the spark plugs, but that's just because I had them on hand, so I put new ones in there. But I don't know. I mean, if this takes you between 3 and 5 hours, and maybe each year you get a little bit faster, but the problem is you're not doing it often enough to really pick up a lot of efficiency gains. So I don't know, maybe next year I'll just clean it myself, save the $600 there, and then have them do the rest of it. But we'll see. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the very next video.